Hello friends, welcome to this tutorial of Slidescope in association with ColorStack. In this tutorial, we are going to perform basic exploratory data analysis on the FIFA 19 dataset, and that is available on kaggle.com website. If you are unable to find the dataset, you can contact us on slidescope.com as well. We will use libraries of Python to read the data, and we'll also visualize the data using histogram plots and various other type of graphs. And the task of this video is to find top 15 players on the basis of their value or the wage. So first let's have a look at this data set. And in this data set you have information of all the players that are there in FIFA 19. FIFA 19 is a video game, and it has football players, and this is the information of those football players. And for every player there is a separate row, and in every row there are many columns, and these columns have some specific values like age of that player, photo of that player, nationality of the player, overall rating of the player, the potential of that player, and the value of player and the wage of player are represented in form of money, and this money is in euros. So Messi has a value of 110.5 million euros, so that's what this want to say. But what our task is to sort the data on the basis of this value and on the basis of this wage. So I will demonstrate you how you can convert the money value that is there in the data set and into float value for sorting purpose, because we cannot sort this value as it is. So we have to first convert it to a float value. So then there are some tasks that you have to do first. First, download the data set, then keep the data set in some folder. In our case, our dataset is saved in a folder called FIFA 19, and then you have to use Anaconda Navigator's Jupyter Notebook to navigate to that folder. So, for the purpose of running Python code, we are using Jupyter Notebook here, and this is available in the Anaconda Navigator package. All you have to do is open Anaconda Navigator and launch Jupyter Notebook. This is the file explorer part of Jupyter Notebook, and now you can locate your folder wherever you have saved your data.csv file of FIFA 19, and you can simply go to that folder. So in our case, the file is located in the Python course Del folder, and the folder is named as FIFA 19, and we have this data.csv file here. So currently it is very hard to read this data here, but you can use a tool like Excel to read the data, to get some basic information about the data and what it is trying to tell. So let's get started. In your folder of Jupyter Notebook, or in this window of Jupyter Notebook, click on New and click New Python file. So now you can name it anything. Let's say FIFA 19 EDA, Exploratory Data Analysis. You can give it any name as per your liking. So FIFA 19 EDA part 2, we have already a file called FIFA 19 EDA. So this is FIFA 19 part 2. We have done some basic analysis on this data. So that's why it was unable to name it. Now we have to import the basic libraries. So import Python pandas and import pandas spd. So pandas is a library that is used for data visualization, and this library has various methods and that can be used to read various types of file. So Python pandas can be used to read CSV files, can be used to read Excel files, JSON files, SQL files that are hosted on any server. It can read HTML files as well. So whatever type of files are there, whatever type of data set is with you, you can use Python pandas to read that data set, and you can uh, read that data set and visualize it in this window of Jupyter Notebook. So for that we have to create a data frame. So data is equal to pd dot read underscore csv. So this dot read underscore csv method of pandas library is used to create a data frame, and that data frame will be stored in this variable called data. That data frame is basically a two-dimensional tabular way of representing data, tabular way of reading data, you can say. So your data is in a csv file. Now you want to visualize it. That's why you are using a method from a library of Python, and all you have to do is you have to provide the name of that file. So you can provide a fully classified file URL also, or you can save the file in the same folder and then simply type the name of that file. Now that file is with us, we can type data, and this will print the data frame for us. Now you can see all the values are available here, all the rows and columns are there, and now there is a method in Python pandas called .head, and we can optionally supply a number here also. So let's say 10. So what it will do is it will bring 10 top 10 rows of the data set. So in the order of the original data set. So there is no change in the order here. The order is same as the order of data set. Now uh, first analysis is to view how many columns and rows are there. So that is called shape of data set. So for that we use data dot shape. So this will give us some information that there are 18,207 rows and 89 columns. Now next thing is we want to view the name of those columns. So name of columns. So this can be done by data dot columns. So this is the name of all the columns we have, and like I mentioned, the main this video will be in 2 or 3 parts, and in this part our task is to sort top the top 15 players on the basis of their value and wage, right? And another task will be to view the distribution of data, and particularly age and overall and potential and things like that. So in our data set we have some numeric values like age, overall, potential, and when we have these values, so we can see their distribution. That means how age is distributed in the uh, data set, right? How many players of age 20 to 30 are there? How many pairs of age between 30 to 40 are there? So between particular groupings of age, how many players are there? So we can view that. So for that we can import a library called import from matplotlib, import pyplot as plt. So this library can be used to visualize things. This library can be used to draw graphs in Python. So we have discussed basics about PyPlot. We have discussed basics about Python pandas in our previous videos also. So if you are not familiar with the basics of Matplotlib and PyPlot and everything, if you are not familiar about basics of pandas, then you can watch those videos to understand the basic methods. We are trying to simply analyze this data. So let's see the distribution of age. So for that, plt.title, this will give a suitable name to our graph. Distribution of age. Plt.figure. This method is used to create, or is used to analyze. We can allot a figure size here, 10,7, and then we can plot the histogram here. So plt.hist, and we can plot a histogram here, and in the histogram we have to use the we have to specify one column. So histogram plot is just like a bar plot, but in case of a bar plot we have more than one value. We mostly have two variables, and we see the relationship between these two variables in case of bar plot. But in case of histogram, we see the overall distribution of data of that particular variable, how that the data inside that variable is distributed within the total data set. So now what it will do is it it brings a figure in front of us, and this is the figure, and you can see that most players are between the age group of 20 to 25 and 25 to 30. So most players are between 20 and 30, we can say. And we have some players who are more than 45 years age or nearly 45 years of age. We have some players who are 16 or 17 years of age also, but most players are between 20 to 30, and that's why histogram plot is used. So the title will be used last, and that's why we are seeing two figures there, because first it created title and then it created the plot. Now you can see title and the plot here. So this is a plot for one variable only, and that one variable in this case is age. We can also on the same principle, we can see how overall is distributed in the data set, right? So overall rating, we can see some players have overall rating of 94. So top players have overall rating of 94, and some player now the rating is decreasing, right? So let's see how overall is distributed in the data set. So overall, now you can see this is the distribution of overall rating value, and this is a pretty much a standard distribution plot here. We can see that most of the players have overall rating between 60 to 75. So, and we have a mean at, let's see the mean of overall. So to see the mean of overall, we can see data overall dot mean. So it is 66.238. So we can, uh, why we are saying it is a standard plot, because somewhere around 66.238, the number of players that have overall rating more than 66.238 are almost same as the number of players who have rating less than 66.238. So this is how we can see the distribution of any particular numerical column, and this is histogram plot, right? And many people get confused between histogram and bar graphs. So I will try to demonstrate you meaning of bar graph also. So for that, let's see in our data, let's see data dot value underscore counts. So this method is used to tell the or is used to create groupings of data. So this function returns object containing counts of unique values. So the resulting object will be in descending order so that the first element is the mostly frequently occurring element, and it excludes NA values by default. So suppose we want to see the number of players, or we want to see which particular country has most number of players in this data set. So what we can do is data, and then we can select that column, and we know that column is nationality. So you can see here we have a column named nationality here, and this column represents the countries of players, the respective countries of players, and data dot nationality dot value underscore counts. So now it is telling us that England has most number of players, then we have Germany, then Spain, then Argentina. So it has sorted the values also, and it has given us some information about how many players belong to any particular country. So it is creating groups also, and New Caledonia has one player, Liberia has one player. Now if we use head function here, and let's say we want to see the name of top 40 countries on the basis of most number of players, means we want to top in our data set what are the name of those top 40 countries which have most number of players. So these are the top 40 countries. So we can see in Morocco we have 85 players, and then we can plot it. So in Python pandas, we can use plot function, and kind is equal to bar, right? And we can give a fig size here also. What size of figure we want? Let's say we want a 15 by 5 graph here. So what it will do is it will give us a bar plot, right? So in this bar plot, we have two things. We have name of the countries on x-axis, and the height of these bars represent the value counts, right? So we have two variables here. One is the value counts of that variable, and another is the name of every country. But in case of a histogram plot, we had only one variable, and we were seeing the frequency of occurrence of that variable in the data set. So the frequency of occurrence of age 60 is somewhere between 2300, right? So this point here will be 23 or 2400. So the 2400 players have age of sorry have overall distribution of age, sorry, this is distribution of overall value. So age of 60 is not something that we get too often. So this is age of 60, this is overall value of 60, and we have more than 2000 players who have this value. Now since we have got the basic information about histogram plots and basic information about bar plots in Python pandas, now our main task is to convert this money value into float value, and for that we have a function, and I will write and copy that function. So this is our data cleaning part, because we are trying to clean the data so that we can sort it. So we are creating a new data frame here called football, and in that data frame we are copying this old data frame. So we are basically creating a copy of our data frame so that we can perform the cleaning part on that new data frame. Now, to convert the string data of value and wages, right? We have string data in value and wage. So to convert this string data, what we have to write a function here. So this function is called str to float. This is a user defined function, and it will take one argument, which is euros. So if euros minus 1, what this means is if the last alphabet of this string, minus 1 represents the last alphabet. So if the last alphabet or last character of this string is M, then return float, that means convert to float, euros 1 colon minus 1. Remember, euros 1, this here, euros 1 will select this 1 value or this 7 value, because this euro will be at position 0. This euro sign will be at position 0. 7 will be at position 1 in this case. In this example, again, euro will be at position 0. 7 will be at position 1. 6 will be at position 2. This decimal here will be at position 3, and M, because it is the last character, it will be at position minus 1. So if we want to access the last character in a string, that then we can use this minus 1 sign here. So if you know the basics of Python, then this thing will be clear to you. And then we are multiplying it with 10 to the power 6, because million means 10 to the power 6, and then k sign means 1000. That's why we are multiplying it with 1000, and else return float euros 1 is 2. That means if the data is not ending with m or k, then simply return the data, right? So, and with 1, with first value, with not the zeroth value, with the first value. So with first value, so 76. But so in this case, or in this case, every value has euro in zeroth place, zeroth index, then it has 1 at the first position, or 7, and there are various values here. So this is a basic function, and then we'll try to apply this function in the new data set which we have created. So use the lambda function to apply the user defined string to float for each player's market value, and again use the lambda function to apply user defined string to float for each player's current wage. So what it will do is it will change the value as a string to float. It will look whether it's ending with m or k. If it's ending with m, it will multiply it with, it will remove the m, and it will multiply it with 10,000, 1 million, and if it's ending with k, it will multiply it with 1000. So, and that's why we have copied the data set, because we don't want to change the original data set. Now, after doing this, let's see the football data set, the head of football data set. So now you can see overall and potential, and these values are there. So we have to find, we have to see three values, right? We have to see these column, value and wage mainly. So let's say to select any number of columns. If we don't want to see all the columns, we want to see some columns. So we have to create a list of columns. So first column is name, then second column is overall, or sorry, in this case value, and the third column is wage, right? So this here is a list of column names, and this The first square bracket represents the index, and the second square bracket represents the list of columns that we want to see. So now we will only see the list of these values, right? So now, since in this football we have value and wage, so from football we can see the distribution of that also. So plt dot hist, which is short for histogram, and what we want to see is football and value. So how is value of players distributed? So you can see here the value of players is distributed as from 0 then to forward. Now, because the numbers are very large, that's why we are seeing this 0, 0.0, 0.2. So we can see most of the players, around 17,500 players have the value of 0. So between 0 and very less. So because we might have missing values in our data set, and to find the number of missing values in any particular column, we can analyze that using, let's say, football, then uh, the value that we want to analyze, the column and name of column, that then is null. That means how many columns are there with null values, and dot sum. So now it is saying that it has 0 values. So 0 values with null, uh, it has 0 rows with null value of this value here. So when we look at our data set, then we can see that it has some value of 60,000. So the least value that the player is getting is 60,000 here, 40,000 here. Some players have 0k also. So this is not null, but many players have a value of 0k or 20k. So we have, if we have a value of euro 0k, right? So there are many such columns here. That's why we are seeing this value here. And in the similar way, we can analyze our wages also. So let's copy this line, and we can analyze the salary also. It is in thousand. So in case of wage, simply put wage, and then you have similar type of data, but similar type of distribution. But here some players have uh, wage of more than 500,000, and some players have wage of 0,000 or 0. So most players have wage between 0,000 and, let's say, 50,000. And then there are some top players where wage is more between 400,000 and 500,000. So the data that we are getting here is also telling us that some players have wage of 565,000, right? 290,000. So now the next thing is to sort the values. The next thing is our main task, that we want to sort the values. Now I want to tell you one more thing. We can import a library called Seaborn also. Import Seaborn as SNS, and it this library can be used to plot distribution plots also. This can be used to plot histograms, and in Seaborn library there is a method called dist plot. In case of matplotlib, we have a function called hist, HIST, which is short for histogram. And in Seaborn library, we have a method called dist plot. And here also we have to uh, supply, as an argument, we have to provide the name of one variable or one column, and that is age. Let's try to plot that. It is showing some warning, but you can see. So it is a more prettier way of representing the distribution plot. And now you can see most players in this data set are between age range 20 to 30. So because we are getting this bell, the curve here is between 20 to 30. So this is the way of reading this data. Now we can use this SNS dist plot to plot our SNS dot dist plot to plot our football value. So because the numbers are high here, so that's why we are seeing these E values, and because values are in million. So this is how we can plot and view distributions of data. This is how we can plot bar graphs. That means bar graphs between two variables. And now the main task, that we want to sort the values as per their value and as per their wage. So there is this method called sort underscore values. So this method sort underscore values can be used to sort the values, and in it has two attributes. One is optional attribute, that you want ascending values or you want descending values. When ascending is false, that means you want descending values. So you want the highest value first and then the lowest value, right? So football dot sort values by, and in by here you have to use the name of that particular column by which you want to sort these values. Now this would not have been possible if uh, when this value was available in a string format. So that's why we changed it to float format, because we want to sort values, and sort in the case of by we have to supply a column which has numeric values, right? So to make it right, now print this, and now you have players, you have the complete data set which is sorted by value in descending order. So the most valued player in this data set is Neymar, then Messi, then Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, Dybala. So these are the player by value, Harry Kane. And now we want to see the name. We don't want all the data, right? We just want to see the name of those players, we want to see the value of those players, and we want to see the wage of those players. So what you can do is, because this is your data frame, and you can select some values also, right? So you have to supply a list of values that you want to see. So name we want to see, then we want to see over that we want to see value, and next thing we want to see is wage, right? So what this will do is, this will give you only three columns, and name, value, and wage. So now you can see that this is the value of Neymar, Lionel Messi, De Bruyne, Kevin De Bruyne, Even Hazard, Dybala, Harry Kane, Mbappe, Suarez, Griezmann. So Antoine Griezmann. So these are the players sorted on the basis of their value. And if you want to see top 15 players, so use a semicolon, or sorry, use a colon here and write 15. So you will get top 15. Here is our list, top 15 players in FIFA 19 data set that we have um, on the basis of their value. Now next thing is very simple. We have to print the name of top 15 players on the basis of their wage. So by wage. Remember, this should be a float value. Now we have top 15 players by wage. So the player which has most wage in euros is Messi, then Suarez, Luka Modric, Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Toni Kroos, Gareth Bale. So we have these players, right? So this is some basic exploratory analysis of FIFA 19 football players data. So and you in this particular part we discussed how we can read CSV files using Python pandas, how we can see the name of columns in the data set, how we can see the number of rows and columns in the data set, then how we can plot a basic bar graph. We have to use kind is equal to bar here, right? How we can plot a histogram graph using matplotlib, pyplot, and there's also a library called Seaborn, how we can plot distribution graphs. Distribution graphs are very much useful for statistics. And for statistics, you can write one more thing, football dot describe. So what it will do is it will take all the numeric columns and it will tell you the count of those values, mean of every value. So mean of age is 25.12. So the average age of players is 25. The average overall rating is 66. Average overall potential is 71. Again, we are seeing values in millions. That's why it is giving us E. Average wage of people of players is 9,731. So on the basis of this, we have some standard value, minimum value, standard deviation, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, maximum value. So maximum overall is 94. So you can use this describe here also. So now this is the first part of exploratory data analysis. This is the first part of exploratory data analysis, and we will have a second part also. We will try to draw more graphs. We will try to plot more graphs like how to plot pie chart, how to plot line chart, how to plot a scatter plot. So we will try to demonstrate the purpose and the procedure of plotting various type of graphs for exploratory data analysis, to draw some conclusions from data. uh, these conclusions can be written in your blogs. These conclusions can be written um, in your journals or website. You can save these images and you can write these images or print these images in your reports. So that's it for this video. I hope you have understood some basic concepts of exploratory data analysis on football data set, which is FIFA 19 data set. And do share your feedbacks in comment section. If you have any doubts, if you want anything, if you want to know anything, or if you have any suggestions, please share in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video once again. Have a nice day.